So I've got Lee Holmes here today, and I'm so super excited to have her with me. I discovered Lee Holmes a few years ago when I was working on healing my own gut health issues. And her book, Heal Your Gut, I love this book. It's one of my top favorite books that I have right in my kitchen so I can go back to. It's just amazing. It's so accessible. You can just open it up and get tips on what can help your immune system, what can help your gut health. And honestly, this book was my saving grace because I was having a lot of gut health issues a few years ago. And it really helped me step into my power because I was able to lose weight and feel better about myself. And my stomach that had been really bloated and not feeling good and was constantly upset. Like I actually, by using her book and following through and making the soups and everything, I had a flat tummy that I hadn't had since I was a teenager. It was incredible. And I felt so much better about myself. And it really, like her body of work really made a huge impact on me stepping in to my own power. And so it's so great to have you here, Lee. And Lee Holmes, she does so many incredible things. This is the other thing, is when I saw the picture from the book, I felt instantly connected to her as a goddess, as a soul sister. And then when I got to know her a little bit more, I realized she does yoga, she does meditation. So she's more than just a gut health expert. She's also just graduated with her degree, and she's now a clinical nutritionist as well. So she is a master of many things. So it's so good to have you here, Lee.
Oh, thank you for having me. It's really, really nice to be here.
Yeah. So Lee, you know that we're talking about the goddess and the connection. So the connection of, what does the goddess mean to you in relationship to what you do and the gifts that you bring to the world?
Mm. I'm an accidental goddess, I have to say. I never knew the term really, and I was just kind of just following my heart. I did actually get sick a number of years ago, about 10 years ago, with an autoimmune disease, Crohn's and fibromyalgia. And I went through this really kind of complex medical system of being shunted from doctor to doctor, lots of tests, lots of needles, lots of clumps of hair falling out, losing weight. Like you, I was like really not, my gut wasn't working properly. And I realized that when I spoke to the doctors about it, I said to them, do you think me being ill has anything to do with my diet? Because I notice when I eat certain things that I really react. I'm really reacting to MSG and chemicals and all these sort of additives. And they said to me, look, it's got nothing to do with diet whatsoever. Just keep on eating this hospital food, which I don't know about America, but in Sydney it's pretty bad. And I was just put on this concoction of different medications like immunosuppressants, anti-inflammatories, antibiotics, you name it. And I think like stepping into my power, as you were talking about stepping into your power, I started to realize that I did have control over my health. So I started this little blog and I was just really listening to my intuition. I think that's part of being a goddess. I don't know, you would know more than me about that because I'm an accidental one, but just listening to your intuition and making changes. Like I just made simple changes. I started this really tiny blog called superchargedfood.com, started posting recipes. And what I found really amazing was that I don't know how it happened, but Facebook had just started. It was like 12 years ago or something. And people from all over the world contacted me and said that exact same thing happened to me. A lot of women were contacting me saying, they were really sick. They were put on steroids. They blew up like the Michelin man on these steroids, which is what happened to me. And we were really connecting on a really beautiful kind of energetic level and emotional level as well. And I didn't feel alone anymore. I felt like there's this amazing wider community of people who are very like-minded and have been through, I wasn't alone. they had been through the same thing. So from there, I kind of like built my blog and had a platform to write books and to have a voice and be in media and television. But I still think at the end of the day, what I do with Supercharged Food is that I'm really highly passionate. All the recipes come from my kitchen. They're all really authentic, and I think being a goddess or goddess-like is just being your true self, and just talking to others from a place of, understanding and empathy.
Yeah. Oh, I love that. I love your story. Yeah. It's our stories that, help us kind of uncover who we truly are as well. And
Mm.
yeah, so my next question is, what does the redemption of the feminine spirit mean to you?
The redemption of the feminine spirit. I feel like I'm not really sure about what that means to a lot of other people or what it really means, but to me, it feels like we are coming into our own, and choosing our life's purpose or our dharma, or doing things from that place of nurturing, and a feminine kind of place. Yeah, a redemption of the feminine spirit is just coming back to who we truly are, I think.
Yeah, beautiful, beautiful. And yeah, I mean, back to your story, when we do have those health crises, I know for the ones that I've had, like I was explaining to you
Mm,
about my heartbreak of betrayal a few years, or actually it was a year ago. And then I got sick with shingles, and I felt like that really made me have to dive in to who I
mm,
am on a deep
yeah.
level. It's as if I was like cracked open, um,
Mm,
and so that I could really dive in and explore like the depth of my
yeah.
values, my
Yeah.
morals, like the core of who I am.
Mm,
So I love that you talk about the redemption of the feminine spirit being that, the cracking open and the awakening and going into
mm,
the depths. And how beautiful that, so many amazing things like the books that you've written and all the help
mm.
that you can bring your community. That's really, really beautiful. Can you talk a little bit more about the different things that you offer as well?
Yeah, sure. So it all started with this tiny blog, and it was mainly just offering recipes for people, because I would run into people in the street and they would say, "Wow, you're looking better. What have you done? What are you eating?" And I put it down to a very gut sort of friendly anti-inflammatory diet. So I started developing more and more recipes, and so there's 9 cookbooks that I have now, and they range from different topics. So the first one was really about how, when I was really sick and I went on to quite a restrictive kind of diet, whereby I took all the things that were irritating me out, like as I mentioned, the MSG, the additives, and that kind of thing. And then from there, as I mentioned, I started to feel better. My skin was glowing, my hair was growing back, that kind of thing. I then wrote a book called Eat Yourself Beautiful, and that was all around. I know it sounds like quite a superficial title, but it was actually more than that. It was a deeper, more kind of spiritual book in a way, and it was about um, sort of aging gracefully, and taking on anti-inflammatory style eating and practices to really feel good inside and feel good about yourself. So it wasn't really about the external. From there, I wrote a couple of books about gut health. I know you have the Heal Your Gut one. There's a Supercharge Your Gut book as well. And then I went to India. I'm half Indian, so I'm really inspired by Ayurveda. So I studied Ayurvedic medicine in India and cooking. And I wrote a book based on Ayurveda, which is really all about living and eating towards your own constitution. So learning to tune in and listen to your body and give it what it needs. There's 4 different modalities in Ayurveda. There's warm oil massages, there's herbs, there's nutrition, that's one part of it, and yoga is the other modality within it. So living within those kind of modalities to really bring about balance and harmony in the body. So I wrote a book called Eat Right for Your Shape. That's all about Ayurveda. There's a kids cookbook. There's a book about intermittent fasting, which is really quite popular here. I noticed as I was getting older and approaching menopause, I wanted to find a way to eat that was sustainable but still healthy and not like a fad diet. So I found intermittent fasting quite helpful. And my latest book is called Supercharge Your Life. And that is really all about the emotional side of eating. And, a lot of people get into sort of binge eating and eating their emotions. And so it's a lot around that. And it's all about letting go and just having balance and moderation, how to do that.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, so I have those books, and then I have some online programs as well. So I've got the Heal Your Gut 4-week online program. We've got a fasting program as well, and then a Supercharge Your Gut program. And then I have a whole bunch of products too. So I've got Love Your Gut powder. I've got a couple of beauty supplements, a collagen one, Earth and Sea Beauty as well. And I've got a Golden Gut blend, which is actually a really good one for immunity. So I've got a whole host of things that have come out from me just sitting on my couch in my pajamas with my laptop, just writing a little blog.
Wow. Wow. That is truly a beautiful example of being on your soul path purpose, doing
Mm,
what you love and what is directly related to your own story and what you're going through. You're such a goddess. Such a goddess. Aw, so happy to have you on the summit. And so happy that you're making so many amazing and beautiful offerings to humanity and to the world because we certainly need it. I know so many men and women that have gut health issues that
mm.
they don't even know that it is a gut health issue. And
Yeah,
you're quite right that, the doctors they aren't even really trained to know what that is on a preventative level. Like that's what I found is that they diagnose after you have
yeah,
the illness, but what about the leading up to? And
yeah.
so, yeah, so I'm so grateful for your work. Yeah,
Oh,
really,
thank you.
really
Yeah,
important.
you're so right. And I mean, science now tells us that we can prevent a lot of the major illnesses and issues that we have. Interestingly, my gastroenterologist, because I do have Crohn's, I used to have to take anti-inflammatories, but now he actually prescribes turmeric to so many of his patients. And so all of the research in natural medicines and foods and certain ingredients is really catching up now. So there are a lot more integrative doctors in the medical profession these days who are really, really onto it and really great as well. So I think melding the two together is good. And when you do need, obviously, if you need antibiotics or medications, that's okay. But then what you can do is then support that with probiotics and other things like that. So yeah, I think the melding of the two is good.
Yeah. And so do you have any kind of tips for all of us watching of how to boost our immune system? So if we do get coronavirus, it's all a big unknown for all of us, but that can
Yeah.
boost our immunity. So at least we can
Yeah.
have a fighting chance.
In terms of immunity, one of the best places to start is the gut, because 70% of your immune tissue is actually located in your gut. So you have a second immune system that just sits in your gut. And really, it is the first entry point to any pathogens or bacteria that get in through the walls of the gut lining. And so you can really boost your gut immune system by taking certain supplements and eating different kinds of foods, which I can tell you about. The way that I look at the gut is like a beautiful Amazonian rainforest, a bit like your gorgeous background there, that forest. Imagine having just this amazing ecosystem in your belly, and you think about the soil. If you were to take one supplement, then something like colostrum would be a really, really good one that supports the gut immune system, or things like vitamin C, vitamin D, or zinc. They're going to build that healthy kind of soil. Then you've got the trees in the forest, and they are your good bacteria. So that's your kind of probiotics, things like kefir, kimchi, sauerkraut, yogurt, kombucha, those kinds of foods. The thing with the bacteria, and you want to have a good balance of good and bad bacteria in the gut. You want to have a healthy balance. You have to feed that good bacteria, and the way that you do that is through prebiotic-rich foods. So things like onions, chicory, peas, garlic, leeks, artichokes, all those kinds of foods are really full of great prebiotic fibers to feed the healthy bacteria in the gut. And then you'll notice that your gut ecosystem will really flourish. So looking after your gut is number one. I think the other things for immunity are sleep. Sleep is really paramount for immunity. Getting, at least kind of 6 or 7 at least hours sleep a night is really, really important to reset your system, to get your circadian rhythms working well, to get your gut immune system, which actually has a massive impact on your sleep as well, working well. So sleep is important, and other kind of, I guess, vitamins and minerals that are really good. Vitamin C. So antioxidant rich foods. You want to get all the different colors, eating the rainbow. This is going to be good for your immunity. Fiber also is really good to get things moving through your system really well. So lots of kind of high fiber veggies would be really good if you're into those. Like, I think it's wintertime in Sweden at the moment, but wherever you are in the world, you can cook up some nice veggie stir fry, or soups are really good as well. And stress is another thing. Stress can really impact your gut immune system. It can actually strip the body of good bacteria. And when you're really highly stressed, your cortisol levels are going to be higher, and that can make you immunoresistant. So you want to, level out your stress if you can. Do some things like, for example, a bit of meditation or a little bit of exercise, anything that you can do to really help your stress levels come down, that would be really good. So sleep, stress, a multicolored diet, looking after the gut, I think they're my main tips for immunity.
Great. Thank you so much. That's so valuable. And you also talked about a certain kind of tea that you make. And yeah, it was lemon, ginger, honey, and garlic.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And turmeric sometimes. So you can make a really powerful anti-inflammatory tea, which is really, really great. Some of the doctors and scientists now, especially in America, they're all about, especially some of the really high-level gut doctors, are really all about looking at the gut inflammation in the gut. And once you heal the inflammation in the gut, then your gut health is going to be so much better, and it's going to affect your mood as well, and your any anxiety or depression. So really looking at that inflammation in the gut is important. And this toddy that I make is very anti-inflammatory. So it's called the anti-inflammatory toddy. And it's got turmeric in there, and you can have any kind of like oat milk in there, or almond milk, or coconut milk if you like that. And then you can add all these sort of particular spices and a bit of ginger in there as well. You can add lemon if you want to. That's a really, really nice one. I actually also have another recipe on my website, which I should share with you. Actually, it's a 32 clove garlic soup recipe. So it sounds a bit funny, but if you feel like you're coming down with anything, you roast off the garlic and a bit of onion in the oven, and it gets really, really, really sweet. It's so sweet. It's beautiful. Then you pop it into the pan with some broth. If you're vegetarian, you can just use a veggie broth. If you're not vegetarian, you can use a bone broth or a fish broth. You put it all together, a little bit of coconut milk. It is so delicious. I know it sounds like 32 cloves of garlic, a lot, but it is really, really good and fantastic for your immunity. Fantastic if you feel like you're getting a scratchy throat or anything like that.
Great. Oh, wow. Maybe would it be okay to share a PDF in the Summit files?
Yeah, let's do that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, that'd be great. And so Lee Holmes is also offering everyone some extras, some freebies in the All Access Pass. Did you want to talk about that, Lee?
Yeah, sure. So we have a gift of a Love Your Gut book, an ebook with recipes in there and information about gut and all gut friendly tips and things like that. And we also have 10 places on my 4-week Heal Your Gut program, which is an in-depth program which starts, it's continues for 4 weeks, but it starts and it goes through everything to do with your gut health. By the end of it, you're going to feel amazing. It's really good. There's videos on there, there's meditation stuff, there's so much to learn, there's so many recipes. It's really easy and simple. You'll have the ingredients in your cupboard. It's not like a very complicated program, and it'll really, really help guide you.
Yeah, and just to clarify with the 10 places, we'll
Yeah.
be raffling them off. So I think it's on day, I can't remember which day we're coming on towards the end of the summit. It'll either be me and Lee coming on, and for the first 10 people that sign up for the All Access Pass, you will be in the draw to win a place in her program, and there'll be 10. So that's very, very generous of you. So excited. Yeah, that's such a very, very kind and generous offer that will be really helpful for those 10 people. And then the PDFs and all the information will be in the All Access Pass for everyone. Yeah.
Yeah.
So thank you
Absolutely.
for that.
Pleasure.
Yeah. And so the next question for you is, what does the awakening mean to you?
Oh, the awakening.
Yeah.
Um, to me personally,
Yeah.
the awakening, I guess, is just becoming conscious on whatever level that is for whatever individual or human. Yeah, just becoming more awake and conscious with what is happening in the world and what is happening with our interactions and the way we communicate with others. So I think that's what it means to me. I
Yeah.
haven't really thought about that before, but I think, yeah, I think it's just how conscious we are of others and situations.
Yeah. Yeah. And ourself, right? I
And
remember when I was healing my gut, I felt like that was an awakening in itself because
mm,
as I was, doing your program, I was cleansing out a lot of like not only physical debris and things that no longer served my highest and best good, but along with that came a lot of emotions that no longer served me. Um,
mm,
like blind spots that I didn't see before, I could see, and almost like coming out of the conditions when it's all rainy and stormy and you can't really see, you're driving and you're like squinting because you're trying to see the
yeah,
road, and then the
and it's
storm clears and the rainbow comes and then you can see everything. And that's how I
yeah,
felt as I was clearing and cleansing my gut health issues. Like I could see more. There was an
yeah.
awakening of consciousness through my gut
Wow.
health. Yeah. So,
Yeah. I mean, absolutely. Part of the program, it is very holistic. So it's not just about certain ingredients and you find out what their benefits are and then you start eating them. It's a very holistic thing. So through the gut healing program, what it does is that it has 4 different phases. So phase 1 is really all about, taking out anything that's going to irritate you and working with your own kind of constitution to find the right kind of foods for you. Stage 2 is like the detox stage. So when you're detoxing in stage 2, it's not just detoxing your body, you're detoxing your emotions as well. And then stage 3 is all about putting the good stuff back in. So you want to be filling your cup with positive mantras or positive affirmations, and also eating foods that are going to really heal you and fill you up. And then stage 4 of the 4-step sort of process of healing the gut is about looking at your life. You could be in a job that you're not happy in. It could be causing you a lot of stress, or a relationship, and just looking at it. I'm not saying you have to like quit your job or leave your relationship, but looking at it in a broader sense and a holistic sense, and see whether it's actually working for you or not. That is all sort of part of the whole holistic healing.
yeah, beautiful. Yeah. And wanted to also touch upon a little bit more about the emotional connection and the gut health connection with the immune
Mm,
system as well, because, off camera, Lee and I were personally talking about how last year I had come down with shingles, and I had the shingles all over my chest area, which is, the heart and the heart chakra energy. And it was what I had gone through was a heartbreak. And what I was communicating with Lee is that I felt this, like direct connection with the stress of my compromised emotions and this hurt that affected my body. And so we're talking about the mind body connection
yeah.
here. So I would love for you to talk a little bit more about that, Lee.
Yeah, absolutely. There is a really big mind-body connection. I mean, we have, when it comes to in terms of the gut, we have a vagus nerve that runs from our brain all the way down to our gut. It's kind of like a information superhighway, if you like. For every one message our brain sends to our gut actually sends 10 back up. So what's really in charge of our thoughts and feelings is the state of health of your gut and also those messages that are coming back up. And interestingly, your gut bacteria has an independent relationship with each other. So they can communicate with each other without us even being involved in it. So when isn't that crazy that you have like this gut bacteria talking and sending you messages, and your brain is not sending you messages, it's actually your gut. So there is a big thing called the mind gut connection. And I also believe, as you were talking about before, in energy, and you were talking about heartbreak and physical manifestations of that as well. And so I believe that can definitely happen, and I think stress can play a major part. When you look at gut issues and things like IBS and bloating and things like that, they are very determined by the amount of stress and anxiety, because it's been proven that doing hypnosis for IBS and stress really, really stops the IBS. So it is like a sort of more of a metaphysical type level rather than just actual bodily symptoms.
Yeah, yeah. So I guess that's where, the nutrition and what we're eating, what we're putting into our physical vessel creates like that foundational support
Mm-hmm.
for our body. But what
Yeah.
are your tips and your wisdom about when those outside, forces of betrayal, heartbreak, loss, grief? I mean, there's a lot going on for a lot of people on the planet right now, in particular, that we can do. I mean, obviously, building the gut health and
Mm-hmm.
the nutrition for the physical body. But what do you
Mm-hmm.
suggest for that emotional
Yeah.
connection and strength?
Yeah, I think for the emotional side of things, it's working on past traumas and healing some of the things that have happened to you in Vedic meditation. They call them samskaras, and I am personally a devotee of Vedic meditation, because what it does is it goes through the samskaras, or the scars that you have in your past, and it heals them. You do it twice a day. It's 20 minutes a day. You have a personal mantra, and that really, really, I personally find has really helped a lot of things that I've wanted to heal, in my experience. And I think just being tuned in to what is actually happening in your body as well, and being your own surveyor of your body, and not listening to too many external influences in a way, because they could tell you one thing. You could do all these tests, even blood tests. When you get blood tests, they can be different every single day. So if you've had all your blood tests done and everything is ruled out, then looking at that emotional sort of connection that you have with your body, and is there something that is not healed in your life that you think may benefit from it? And then you'll notice for a lot of people that the physical manifestations actually go away.
I love that so much. I love that so
Mm.
much. And as you were speaking, I was thinking about that particular betrayal that I went through and how the core and the roots of it was actually from my childhood. And,
Wow.
and that is sometimes part of our awakening journey is those external things happen that then trigger a
Mm.
deeper like root that goes down that actually
Yeah.
hasn't been healed yet. So that's exactly what happened to me last year is I had to go down into like the roots of,
Yeah.
all these things that I hadn't looked at or addressed from my childhood.
Yes, yeah, absolutely. I agree with that. And I've been doing a lot of that with Vedic meditation. I've only been doing it this year. But it's made the biggest difference because what it does is that once you're given your mantra, what it does is that instead of blocking the thoughts and not having the thoughts, in Vedic meditation, you have the thoughts, you're allowed to kind of have the thoughts happening. You're not trying to push them away. And in doing so, you're feeling all of the thoughts and you remember things from your past that you had blocked out, you completely blocked out. And systematically, it heals all these different little things or big things that have happened in your life. And it's really, really quite amazing. And it changes the way that you interact with others. It changes the habits that from past traumas, and you have a habitual way of talking or acting when something happens. Vedic meditation changes all of that. I definitely recommend it for anyone that's interested in that kind of thing.
Wow. I love that. This is very much in alignment with both of the teachers that I've worked with, Anna Dea Judith and Lion Goodman as well. In their
Yeah,
training, it's all about embracing um,
yeah.
those emotions. And
Mm.
you're my last interview of all the different interviews in the summit, and what the thread of a lot of the conversations I've had so far is
Yeah.
that, the feminine is about embracing, where the
Mhm.
masculine in some ways
Yeah.
is about like just get on with it. Like,
Yeah.
very much the British way of just put it
Yeah.
in a box, close the box, don't open the
Yeah.
box. Just push through it. You'll be fine, mate.
Yeah.
That kind of like where the feminine is like
Mhm.
embrace it, feel it, be with it,
Yeah.
feel it fully so that then it can dissipate. So,
I totally agree with that. We're
yeah.
on the same page for sure. Yeah, I agree. I mean, there is a lot of sort of like masculine bravado and, as you say, like pushing the emotions away, not dealing with the emotions. But they're just going to resurface if you do that because you haven't dealt with it. And you'll just be given the same lessons every single time until you've dealt with that lesson, or maybe not a lesson, or things that you want to kind of understand about yourself. So, yeah, sometimes for some people the work is really hard, but and sometimes things like Vedic meditation was circling me for the last year. I was in New Zealand actually, and two Vedic meditation teachers were saying, "Oh, you should come and do the course." And I was like, "Oh, I can't, I'm too busy." And then someone in Sydney said to me, "You should do the course." And I was like, "No, no, oh, my mum had a stroke, and then my dad died." I always had an excuse, but then I just decided, okay, I'll give it a go and see. And I literally do it every single day. It's really amazing.
That's great. That's so
Mm.
great. Thank you so much for sharing that. I love it. I love it. That's just so interesting that that's been a bit of a lifeline cord coming through
Mm.
the summit information. Yeah, beautiful. I love that so much. It is about, I mean, you see kids, don't you? You see kids, and when they
Yeah,
fall down and they hurt themselves, they feel their emotion completely. Like they'll scream and they'll cry and they'll throw themselves down, and it's like, just the end of the world. And then 5 minutes later, they're laughing, they're playing, they're happy. And it's
yeah,
because they authentically, genuinely went into all of that emotion, and so they're done with it.
yeah.
Which makes sense. Like whatever we resist persists.
I agree. And sometimes there's a lot of guilt as well, and we're all also distracted by technology and different things that we just want to distract ourselves so we don't have to deal with it. But I think in doing so, you're just perpetuating it.
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you. Thank you, Lee. And so, my last and final question for you is kind of a big one. If you could say anything to everyone on the summit, what would it be? Like something that will help them during these, auspicious times of pandemic and so much going on in the world. Like, just what would you say to humanity?
Mm. I would say that you're safe, and that you have it within your power to look after yourself and listen to your body and your needs, and you should really do that and take care of yourself and do some self-care and take this time to go inward. Reflection is really important, and we don't really get to do that a lot when we're so busy these days. So take this time to look after yourself.
Thank you. Thank you so much. It's been so wonderful. And yeah, and everyone that's watching, definitely sign up for the All Access Pass so you can have these amazing recipes. I know firsthand that the soup recipes, in particular, the fish one with saffron, is my absolute favorite. I make it like once a month. I love it so much, and the whole family loves it. The kids love it. It's just the best soup ever. And it just, when you eat it, you just feel so good and nourished.
Nourishing.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well,
And
thank you so much.
yeah, and then, the 10 free places in her Heal Your Gut. That's such a generous and kind offer. So definitely join us in the Facebook Live page for the Summit of the 9 Days. We're going to come on every day live, and we'll have that draw for 10 places in your Heal Your Gut. So is it an actual workshop? Could you explain?
Yeah, it's an online program. So there will be almost every day there's videos from me, emails from me. Sorry, there's lots of videos in there as well. There's a portal. It's an access only portal that you go into, and you do it with other people as well. So there's a Facebook group and a Facebook community that you sort of talk to, and I'm on there a lot as well. And also there's a team of doctors from all over the world that is part of the program as well. So you can ask questions to doctors too. So yeah, it's a really, really in-depth program, and you're guided all the way through it.
Wow. What a beautiful offering. Thank you so much, Lee. It's been such a pleasure.
Thank
Thank you. Aw.